Psych and Spirit, growing one awareness at a time.
Hello, everyone. This is Dr. Seay, and this is Psych and Spirit. What do we need to know right now? I have a few themes for this time of the month as our Psych and Spirit check-in, so I am going to jump right in to those themes. The first theme is to allow uncertainty. Allow uncertainty. A lot of us are going through a lot of uncertainty right now, perhaps even a little bit more so than usual. I think the hard part is knowing that you'll be okay or trusting that you will be okay, even with the uncertainty of each day, with unhappy surprises or different things that keep changing on a dime. The problem that usually happens with uncertainty is that we become afraid of it and then we start barricading things or controlling more things in our lives. For example, maybe when one area of our life is uncertain, maybe job security or something, maybe you're going to try to be more controlling of either people around you or your diet or your exercise or your routine or your regimen. Something you're trying to adjust, you're trying to box yourself in a little bit more because you're scared. You're scared of the uncertainty. And to be fair, it is very normal to be anxious when something changes, when there's uncertainty, when we don't know what's going to happen. That is normal to some extent, but I also know that some of us are a little bit better at managing uncertainty than others. Sometimes I can be an immovable force when it comes to change. And so that's something that I still work on personally, is dealing with uncertainty. But I think it's really important to look at our reactions when these kinds of surprises come up. Because if we are just responding and reacting to uncertainty in an unconscious way, we're not paying attention, we might get really stressed out, we might get really scared, and we might react and interact with others in a less than healthy way. So again, the key is to allow uncertainty and to start to reflect on how you handle uncertainty, how you handle change and surprises. And again, not great surprises necessarily, but things that catch you off guard that you weren't aware of. Again, this is something that I struggle with myself, but this is one of the themes for us to work on individually. So that is the first theme, allow uncertainty. The second theme is, I called it clear out the cobwebs. If there's some way that you can cleanse yourself or your environment, do so. I have this image of beating a rug outside so all the dust comes out. And I haven't done that very often. Honestly, I've only done it a few times. But when I did, you could see the layer of dust just going into the air around the rug, and that absolutely cleans the rug somewhat. But there's something to be said about finding a way to do that to ourselves and or our environment. So it could be very literal for you. If you want to clear out the cobwebs by cleaning up your environment or getting rid of things in your environment that just aren't helpful, useful, necessary. So literally getting rid of things in your home space. That's one way. Could be also a little bit more psychological and emotional and spiritual. So could be, well, one way is actually exercise. If we're looking at your body, mind, body, and spirit, exercising is a way to kind of cleanse your body and also help you feel better. It helps with stress and anxiety and depression symptoms. So exercising could be going for walks, could be running, could be lifting weights, could be doing yoga, whatever that is for you. Could also be, quote unquote, bathing in nature. There's a new term I feel like I've just heard more recently, forest bathing, something like that. I don't really know much about it, but the reality is I just came back from spending some time in the forest, and there is something actually very cleansing about it because it brings you to the present moment and you do feel more connected to everything. So bathing in nature, water, trees. If you have any access to any of those things, a river, a lake, the ocean, trees, woods, flowers, even. So anything in the natural world that helps you feel a little bit more connected, a little bit more present, a little bit more grateful or happy and boosting your mood, then do so. That's sort of the theme there. So anywhere you feel more clear, connected, and whole. And again, this could also be diet. This could be changing a little something about your diet to maybe be cleansing your body a little bit that way. Yeah, because if you think about it, diet and exercise are ways that you can actually literally cleanse your body. So those are a few ways to clear out the cobwebs. So clear out the cobwebs can mean for you, one person, it might be cleaning the environment, getting rid of things that just you don't use anymore, you're not ever going to probably use. That's one way, that's very literal. But it could also be something like changing your diet, changing your exercise routine, or adding an exercise routine here and there. And could also be just spending more time in nature, water, or trees to reconnect, just kind of connect back into the present moment, which can be a way to cleanse in a way. So clearing out the cobwebs also means cleansing something about yourself, either your physical body, your environment, or your mind, spirit, emotions. I do want to mention a quote that I sometimes think of from a band I used to listen to a lot called Lamb. Their song Bonfire. There's a line that says, "The time is long overdue for a house clearing of the soul." And I thought of that because clear out the cobwebs to me was very reminiscent of that line from the song. And then it goes on to say, we get so complicated in our lives. When walking, just walk. When sitting, just sit. Just when being, just be. It's the one of the members of that band is a Buddhist, and she feels very strongly about that, and that comes through in her music. All right, so that was clear out the cobwebs. That was theme number 2. The third theme is finding humor or levity in the day-to-day. Find humor in your day-to-day life in some way. So that is sometimes a bit of a challenge. We all might be feeling really serious right now, and I know that I've been a very serious person for a lot of my life, and I've been goofy to some extent, use certain kinds of humor here and there. But I do find there to be a lot of value in humor here and there. And so the trick here is that you're going to start paying a little bit more attention in your day-to-day life with things that seem a little silly, a little odd, a little absurd, and a little bit humorous, like finding the humor in everyday situations. So any way that you can do that would be great right now. We all need a little bit of levity. So that might be a little bit more intentional. You might actually want to watch a funny show. You might want to look up funny, I don't know, funny Instagrams or something on social media that's funny. So actually seeking out that kind of information that's got a more humorous spin to it can be helpful as well. Or if you just happen to pay a little bit more attention to things that are funny or humorous or absurd in your day-to-day life. For example, my daughter was listening to Spidey and Friends theme songs and different in the car for a while. And my wife and I were just getting really sick of it. We were getting exasperated by it. And I think a Super Kitties song came on at some point after it had been playing a bunch of Spidey and Friends songs. And when the Super Kitties song came on and was still going, and then it stopped, and then I switched it to In Vogue, Never Gonna Get It. And then I put it on play, and my daughter said, "Is this Super Kitties?" And my wife and I immediately both responded at the same time, "Yes." And we were both exasperated, so we just lied to her, which wasn't great, but we were really exasperated and really tired of hearing Spidey and Friends songs. And so we both said, yes, it was Super Kitties, and she was quiet for a little bit. It was not Super Kitties, obviously, it was In Vogue, but I thought that that was really funny. My wife and I looked at each other after we both said yes and just started to laugh because we both just lied in the same moment because we were just tired of hearing kid songs. So I thought that was really funny. We were laughing for a long time in the car. It's not great to lie to your kids. I get it. It was just something in the moment. We were just really exasperated in that moment, but it was a really funny situation, I thought, in the end. So look for humor and lightness in everyday interactions, in the things that you're doing, anything that's funny. Look for that. Just pay more attention to the funnier, lighter side of things if you can. I think we all need that right now. All right, let's move on to the next one. We have just a couple more to go. All right, so the next theme is your higher self or higher power. And more specifically, seeking connection to your higher self or your spirit, whatever you want to call it, through meditation or through prayer, however you want to label that, would be really helpful at a time like this. In addition to that, seeing the connection, the interconnectedness of everything around you would be really helpful right now. I think a lot of us are feeling pretty disillusioned right now and could really use a little bit more of the connectedness feeling. And so the more that you can see that, see either the divine in everything around you, or, just see how amazing everything is around you, whatever your beliefs are, would be really helpful. So that also means attending more to the beauty that we see in the world, attending more to the things that we see that are connected and can appreciate. If we get really literal to plants and trees, really appreciating their connection to each other underground and through fungi and communicating through different chemical signals and things like that. But also just really kind of seeing the beauty in the world and the connectedness of different things like flowers or plants or animals. Any way that you can really appreciate that and see the connectedness of everything. That will bring you a little bit more into your own connection to your higher self or the divine, however you want to look at that. And the last one is very specific. I didn't quite know how to title this one, but this one says, this theme is basically say what your heart desires, express what your heart desires. There is some power in being able to say things out loud. I'm a psychologist. I absolutely have seen this many times with working with clients, but there's also something powerful about saying what you want. And we're not talking about superficial things. I want Taco Bell tonight, right? You might want Taco Bell tonight. You can decree it, sure. But this is going to look at a little bit more deeper things. What do you really want? And let your heart's desire be what guides you to express yourself. So say what your heart's desire is in one way. Just find one thing to express verbally. And maybe it's going to be in front of another person because what you want involves that person or involves them being a part of that in some way. Or maybe you just express it alone to yourself. That's okay too. Sometimes we just want to say it out loud because there is power in expressing words out loud, even if you're alone. And I've also seen that as well in my work. So say what your heart desires and commit to the growth process that will make it happen. There might be something that you want. Maybe you want to get along better with another person. And maybe you express that to them, or maybe you express that to yourself. But the second piece of that is also that you're going to commit to the growth that's going to be involved in making that happen for yourself. What's my role in this? What can I do to change things? Speak your truth of what you want. Ultimately, that is what it's about, what it is about. All right, those are the themes. I know that sounds like a lot. There's 5 themes. But let me do a quick recap and then I'll give you some homework. You ready? All right, so allow uncertainty, clear out the cobwebs, which also means cleanse yourself and or the environment. Find the everyday humor, connect to your higher self and or recognize the divine in all things, and express what your heart desires. So I do want to give you a homework assignment. That was a lot of themes. And here are 5 pieces of homework for you. That's a lot. You don't have to do all 5. But I would really challenge you to pick one of these. So here they are. So for homework, journal about how you respond to uncertainty and how you could respond a little bit differently in the future. How could I respond a little bit better maybe to uncertainty in the future rather than going up in my head and spinning and being scared and thinking about hypothetical situations of what could happen, right? That gets me kind of into that fear zone. I can get trapped there for a long time. I can think about hypotheticals for a long time. I can also get trapped in thinking, why can't things go back to the way they are, and start ruminating on that? Like, oh, before this major change happened, things were great. It's hard for me to adjust to uncertainty and to changes that come up that are difficult. And so, if you also struggle with that as well, write down how you respond to uncertainty, to change, to surprise change in your life, and how you could respond a little bit differently next time. Now, if you don't like writing, just think through it. You can think through it, talk through it, but really take the time to reflect. The big piece here is the reflection piece, that you are thinking about how you respond to uncertainty and how you could do things differently next time. The second piece of homework, choose a way to cleanse yourself or your environment, mind, body, or home. Diet, so I'm not saying go on a diet, but maybe you're going to incorporate more fruits into your diet, more fresh fruits. Maybe for the summer, you're going to buy more watermelon and more things that are in season. So it could be something minor that you change in your diet to just eat a little bit cleaner, unless, I don't know what kinds of foods that you think are not healthy for you. Exercise, that's another way. Maybe you change your routine. Maybe you exercise more. Maybe you exercise in a healthier way. I don't know if you're obsessively exercising, so I'm not sure, but doing something relating to exercise, sweating out toxins quite literally, is a good way to cleanse your body, and it helps you boost your mood. Spending time in trees or near water is another way to kind of cleanse yourself, your mind, and your emotions. So psychologically, emotionally, maybe spiritually too. Breathing or meditation. Breathing is also very cleansing, quite literally as well. We breathe out carbon dioxide and sometimes different kinds of toxins as well. So breathing and meditation can be really helpful. Getting rid of things you can no longer use or you no longer want in your home, quite literally clean out the cobwebs by cleansing something about your home. Your home space can be also helpful as well. All right, so that is homework number 2. Homework number 3, pay more attention to funny moments. Notice the absurd, silly, or funny in your day-to-day life, or seek out humor in social media, whether that's shows, TV shows, movies, Instagram, TikTok, whatever you use. Seek out humor a little bit more. Pay more attention to the absurd, to the silly. And that takes effort, right? Because life is serious. It takes effort to actually look for the levity, to look for the moments of humor, and to reflect on them and think that was actually really funny. All right, number 4, meditate regularly to connect to your higher self or the divine. It might just be for 15 minutes a day, 10 minutes a day, in the morning, in the evening, maybe when you're driving. I actually meditate when I'm driving sometimes. I'll listen to I like Tuvan throat singing. I'll listen to that and I'll kind of meditate in my car while I'm driving on the way to work sometimes. It actually is really helpful. I do enjoy that. So find a way to meditate a little bit here and there, and that will help you connect to your higher self or the divine, however you see that. Notice divinity, notice the connections in everything that you see. That's another piece of that. Start to notice that. And last but not least, when it comes to speaking the truth of what you want, do it. Pick one thing. One thing. Could be small, but it's something that your heart desires. I want to get along better with you. Maybe you express it to that person. So express one thing that you want from the heart. And when you express something from the heart, it's not going to come out defensive. It's not going to come out guarded. It's not going to come out angry. And it's not going to come out blaming or pushing responsibility onto another person. So be careful about what you're expressing and how you express it. But if it's coming from the heart, genuinely coming from the heart, then it's not going to be something that's angry or blamey or not taking responsibility. So just keep that in mind. Express one thing that you want. And I think that's it. So I will be posting some other videos in the next few weeks. Until then, take care. Bye-bye.